the home of glamour and glitter, the temple of easy living. Known for its dream beaches, star-studded villas, and film studios. Welcome to California. Located on the west coast of the United States, alongside the Pacific Ocean and bordering Mexico, the state attracts over 270 million tourists every year. But behind this postcard image lies a very different reality. It is home to some of the deadliest, most dangerous roads in the United States, posting more than 210,000 accidents every year, 160,000 people injured, and 4,000 killed. A roadside inferno on the brink of implosion.
Every 1 minute in Los Angeles, there's an auto accident that happens.
Accidents, hit and runs, car chases. For the first time, you'll get a behind-the-scenes look at California's roads. Why has California become the most accident-prone and deadly state in the USA? What's really going on along its highways? And what accounts for such a plague? To answer these questions, we investigated the state's 600,000 kilometers of roads. First, in Los Angeles, where incredible car chases worthy of Hollywood action movies scream through the traffic, and where dangerous driving, fueled by alcohol and cannabis, triggers horrifying accidents every day.
Pretty much everything happens in LA.
We'll visit an ultra-dangerous mountain road known as the Angelus Crest, where the lower slopes are littered with car wrecks. Along this route, illegal racing and risky behavior are a daily occurrence. Meanwhile, 800 kilometers to the north, near San Francisco, highway shootings are the order of the day, with motorists shot at by angry drivers. Aggressive driving is spreading across the state.
It's easier to get a firearm than it is to get fresh produce.
You'll also discover the terrible consequences of the natural disasters that strike California. Violent floods, uncontrollable fires, events that regularly plunge California road users into hell.
Please help us to be safe.
The state has also become America's hit-and-run capital. Here, more and more drivers are wrecking carnage and fleeing the scenes, declining to come to the aid of their victims. Join us on a never-before-seen tour of California to discover how one of America's biggest tourist destinations has become fraught with danger. Our investigation begins in Southern California, in Los Angeles County, with 10 million inhabitants spread across an area of some 10,000 kilometers. This is the most densely populated county in the USA. 7 million vehicles, a sprawling road network. The traffic here is exceptionally dense, and the risk of accidents constant. But a spectacular phenomenon is making traffic conditions even more dangerous. Car chases between criminals and police. On average, the city of Angels records almost 10 of them every day. The first witness to these incredible chases is cameraman Marcel Melanson. From his helicopter, Marcel covers Los Angeles and the surrounding area from the air for ABC 7 News.
Four o'clock in the morning, we start with traffic right away, letting people know about the traffic on the freeway on their way to their work. In between traffic, we break away and cover those breaking news stories as well. And breaking news stories could be anything from car accidents to police chases to fires, natural disasters, you name it, we cover it all.
In a career spanning 25 years, Marcel Melanson and his pilot have filmed thousands of car chases on the roads of Los Angeles, most of them ending tragically for the driver. As in this footage, where a speeding car plows into an electrical pole before flipping over into the middle of the street. Or this camper van veering out of control, crashing into everything in its path. Some drivers will do anything to escape the police, even if it means risking their life. Like this motorcyclist, being chased in the middle of the night along a freeway. After several minutes of pursuit, the driver opts to leave the road and turn onto the railroad track. A crazy race that ends with a two-wheeler slipping between the rails.
LA is the capital of car chases, and the reason being the way LA's system of roads is set up, it's very expansive. Where LA, the way that it was built, it was spread over large areas, and the traffic and road system to connect those large areas makes it an ideal place for people to have car chases. Not only that, but because of LA being so big and being the layout it is, the news specifically uses helicopters a lot more than anywhere else. We're more likely to cover a car chase than most places because we're already up in the air and we have more helicopters to cover these breaking news stories. So that's why you see them in LA more often than anywhere else. The reasons why these car chases start all can be from somebody that's committed a crime. It could be a stolen vehicle. It could be somebody that is just having a manic or psychotic episode.
Marcel Melanson recalls one incident in particular that marked his career, when he managed to film the criminal enterprise of the driver of this black vehicle from start to finish.
One of the most memorable pursuits of lately was one where a guy stole a number of cars, one after the other. He was in one car, the police were chasing him. He jumps out of that car, jumps into another car. I think he stole a total of 4 cars total in this chase, from one to the next. And he was very reckless, ramming into other cars, ramming into the police car. Even at one point, he jumps out of a car, runs into somebody's home, steals the keys from their car, runs outside, jumps into their car, and then takes off again. When you thought it was all over, it just kept going. Finally, at the very end, the police ran into him and actually had to stop the car by crashing into it, and that's what stopped the chase. But it went on for over 1 hour, and the whole time it was non-stop craziness just because of the sheer danger, and the guy didn't care. No worrying about anybody else's life but his own. He was just determined to get away, and he was going through whatever he could.
The consequences of these chases can be catastrophic. Pursued by the police, at any moment the fleeing criminals can collide with pedestrians or other vehicles in their path.
Whenever there's a pursuit, you run the risk of collateral damage. And collateral damage could be from property damage to people actually dying. Innocent people have died when they were hit by people being pursued or by the police themselves. The LAPD released a report. For the past 5 years, there's been about 4,000 police pursuits. About 1,000 people were injured or killed, rough numbers, and about 49% of those people that were injured in those pursuits were innocent motorists, just driving down the street and the police pursuit happened to come to you and injured you.
Every day, Los Angeles County is plunged into mourning by car chases that ended badly. Such tragedies regularly make the headlines, with TV cameras constantly on the lookout for live action scenes to thrill their viewers. The suspense keeps them glued to their screens.
Why do people like police chases, and what draws people to them is a question I've asked myself almost every day. The funny thing about it is when I go back and look at the police chases we have and the number of people that watch them, crazily enough, people from all over the world, more people from outside of Los Angeles are fascinated by these police chases than they are in Los Angeles. And I think it has a lot to do with people fascinated with California, with Los Angeles. You know, the police chase is the epitome of Los Angeles, with palm trees going by, the Hollywood sign, and the glamour, and it's almost like a real live action movie that you're seeing in front of you. There's no script. You don't know how it's going to end. And what's crazy about it is I'm on the other end of the camera. I feel the same way. I'm excited too. I'm feeling the drama and everything's building, and I don't know how it's gonna end either. I don't know if he's gonna make a left turn or a right turn either. So I'm following with my gear and everything and just trying to keep the person in frame. It's that adrenaline that it builds inside yourself when something like that is happening.
The most iconic chase, the first to captivate viewers, was the one involving American football star O.J. Simpson.
It happened in 1994. O.J. Simpson was running away because he was a suspect in the murder of his wife. And that was, I want to say, the first televised live chase that people can remember that set it off for all other police chases. So when you think of the most iconic, the #1 police chase of all time, it had to be 1994, O.J. Simpson, white Bronco, leading the police all through Los Angeles. It was probably the most iconic chase you could ever think of.
In a bid to neutralize traffic offenders as quickly as possible, the Los Angeles Police Department has developed a series of interception techniques. During a chase, every minute counts. The longer the chase, the greater the risk of collateral damage. Among the methods employed, the best known is the so-called pit technique. This consists in hitting the car being pursued from behind to divert it from its trajectory. Another method uses a harrow, made up of blades and spikes. Placed in the middle of the road, it blocks the vehicle, instantly puncturing its tires and stopping it dead in its tracks. Finally, the technique used as a last resort is to open fire. In the event of extreme danger, police officers may have to shoot the vehicle or driver in order to immobilize them. In the vast majority of cases, these methods are successful in intercepting fleeing drivers. In 2022, 60% of these offenders were neutralized before being arrested. Penalties can range from fines to prison sentences, depending on the number of offenses and the damage caused during the chase. The fact that Los Angeles is now the capital of traffic jams and road accidents can be traced back to the 1920s, when the development of this gigantic conurbation revolved around its flagship means of transport, the car. Seen from the air, its road network resembles a grid of long, seemingly endless straight thoroughfares. Accident investigator Jonathan Cherney has studied how these wide avenues and boulevards can influence drivers' perception of speed.
The wider a street is, the more comfortable people feel about their speed on those streets. So when you're on a narrower street, even if you're not going fast, it may feel like you're going faster because you have objects that are passing you on the side of the road. But as those objects become further and further away, now you don't notice that speed as much, and it's much easier to go faster.
This phenomenon is amplified by more modern, better equipped cars.
Oh, shit! And in older cars, I think you could hear the wind and the road noise more, you could hear the engine more, and you get a sensation of speed. Now in these newer cars that are better insulated, they're quieter, you don't get any feedback. If you step on the gas pedal hard, you don't get that revving of the engine.
Extra wide roads and more modern cars, then, lead drivers to exceed the authorized speed limit. As a result, speeding has become the leading cause of road accidents in Los Angeles County.
Some of the dangers occur when you're driving fast on the freeway and you approach a congested area and traffic slows down. And if you're not ready for that traffic that's slowed down, then that's where we see a lot of accidents occurring. People do not have an expectation that traffic is going to be slowing down, and they have very little time and distance between their car and that approaching traffic, then they're not going to be able to bring their car to a stop in time, and that can very easily result in a crash.
Los Angeles records 52,000 accidents a year, resulting in over 300 deaths and 11,000 injuries. But for its residents, it's a risk that's impossible to avoid.
As you know, in California, we don't really have a mass transit system like they do in New York. So people here rely on their cars. Do we have mass transit? Yes, we do. But most people rely on their cars for transportation, to go to everywhere, to go to work, to go to grocery stores, to go to school.
In Los Angeles, drivers spend many hours behind the wheel of their vehicles. The metropolitan area covers 1,300 kilometers, compared with just 105 kilometers in Paris. Make it almost 13 times the size of the French capital. On average, drivers spend 50 hours a year in traffic jams, compared with just 17 hours in New York. And once stuck in traffic, drivers become bored and look for ways to entertain themselves at the wheel.
I challenge anybody to stop at an intersection and look around and tell me that you can't find at least one person on their cell phone. It's an epidemic. They're texting, they're playing games, they're on various apps, they're looking at their navigation, they're on phone calls. Driving is a dynamic situation. It's constantly changing. The road's changing. The lights are changing. There's bicyclists, there's pedestrians, there's a variety of different factors that come into play. And as drivers, we have to make a decision as to whether those different things are threats to us or not.
Although banned since 2008 in the state of California, the use of cell phones at the wheel has become a mass phenomenon and the cause of horrifying incidents every year.
Quite frankly, in my opinion, I think people are addicted to their phones. And that is a weapon. That is a very dangerous, deadly weapon.
In 2022, a study estimated that cell phone use while driving was the cause of nearly a quarter of all accidents in Los Angeles County.
If you are not 100% focused on the driving effort, and you don't pay attention to what you're doing, you can very easily kill other people and yourself. And unfortunately, that's a daily occurrence in Southern California.
Today, almost 40% of Los Angeles residents admit to regularly consulting their cell phone while driving.
Oh, shit. Oh, he doesn't know where he's going.
But it's not the only traffic offense responsible for the growing number of accidents in Los Angeles County.
Dude, he just drove over it. He's on the wrong side of the road.
Another factor has terrible consequences on the roads.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Alcohol.
Oh, you're going to jail.
A phenomenon that takes on even greater proportions after dark.
So between 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock, you get your DUI crashes, because most bars and restaurants in Los Angeles close at 2 a.m. So what happens at 2 a.m.? The people that have been drinking get on the road and go home, crash, kill people.
Howard Reichbrook, 47, is what's known as a night reporter, armed with his camera and tuned into the police and fire department frequencies. Every night, this paparazzo roams Los Angeles, filming all the major nocturnal incidents.
I mean, every night is different. You can get shootings, car crashes, fires, I mean, you name it, burglaries, SWAT call-outs, bank robbery capital of the world. I mean, just everything happens in Los Angeles.
His aim is to sell these shocking images to local and national TV stations for news coverage. A single video can earn him up to $4,000 US.
My videos I send in get millions and millions of views, not only on social media, but from the news networks alone.
In his bid to capture the most spectacular images, Howard has customized his car and fitted it with all the necessary equipment.
If I get stuck in a brush fire, I can take this, stick it in my mouth, and I can breathe. We need all the latest technology to run our business. I mean, we need everything from a tablet which has apps on it that tells you where the crashes are, structure fire just went out, fire alarms, floodings. So, I mean, this is every call that comes into 911. Wireless high-speed internet. I have LA County Fire. I've got LAPD and Sheriff on these. This is my grab-and-go camera. I have a full HD front and back camera, dash cam, which I've made thousands of dollars on. The dash cam is invaluable.
In his 25-year career, Howard has covered a number of road accidents, including those involving drunk driving. But one incident in particular left his mark on the journalist's career, a crash that took place north of Los Angeles on the evening of November 19, 2017, at around 2 a.m.
This was one of those stories that I will never forget. I mean, I film a lot of crashes, but this one, I was able to get on camera of a car driving the wrong side of the freeway in the fast lane. And then it crashes 100 miles an hour head on into an innocent victim. And when I show up, there's nobody on scene. There's 2 destroyed cars and 3 dead people. And as I'm there witnessing it, my heart's racing, my heart's pumping, I'm sweating, I'm thinking this isn't gonna end well. I mean, there's nothing you can do. I mean, you're gonna die in that. I mean, that moment between the actual crash and first responders showing up, it's kind of hard to describe, but it's calm, you can smell it. I mean, visually it looks crazy, but the smell of the gasoline, the oil, the crumpled metal, I mean, it just smells like death. I mean, there's no other way to describe it.
This terrible accident was caused by a drunk driver. In 2022, 2,200 crashes like this one were recorded in Los Angeles County. The scourge known as driving under the influence is one that the authorities are constantly trying to get under control. More recently, though, a new law has had dramatic consequences on road accidents: the legalization of cannabis. It all began in 2016, when the state of California authorized the use of recreational drugs. At the time, the authorities had no idea of the impact the measure would have on the road death statistics. Alpine Nazarian, a lawyer from road accident victims, knows all about the consequences of driving under the influence.
With marijuana use, people are more in control, so they feel more comfortable and get behind the wheel. Even though they're calm, they're not like an alcoholic person that's out of control, raging, smells, they're well put together, but mentally you zone out and you lose sight of the details on the road.
Holy shit!
21 American states have legalized the use of marijuana. And while everywhere drug use behind the wheel remains strictly forbidden, with offenders facing penalties ranging from a suspended license to up to a year in prison. In California, the phenomenon is only getting worse. Almost 42% of drivers involved in fatal road accidents have tested positive for drugs. Speeding, alcohol and drugs are scourges compounded by sometimes extreme weather conditions that make the roads even more dangerous.
California, Los Angeles, we don't get too much rain compared to some other areas. So when we do get heavy rain, which is maybe 1, 2, 3 months a year, definitely, from my experience, we'll see an increase in auto accidents, motorcycle accidents, simply because the roadway is more dangerous, it's slippery, but even more so, I think the drivers here are so used to the beautiful sunshine and the beaches and the nice weather that a little bit of rain throws them off and people aren't that great at driving.
Californian drivers may not be used to driving in the rain, but another factor triggers accidents during heavy precipitation. When it rains for the first time after a long dry spell, particles that have accumulated on the road during the year, such as dust, oil, and fuel, form a greasy film, transforming road surfaces into veritable skating rinks.
And once you start hydroplaning on the road, now you're no longer driving the car. Now you've become the passenger. You are now along for the ride. And that car is gonna slide on that water until it actually comes off the water that you're on, or you strike something.
In the event of very heavy rainfall, California's road network floods very quickly. Most roads here have no drainage system.
And if we end up with standing water and we hit that water at freeway speeds, that can result in a crash. And one of the problems with drivers in Southern California is that we tend to drive the same speed all the time, which is not necessarily a good idea.
As soon as the first rains arrive, a combination of inappropriate driving and inexperience inevitably leads to a series of accidents on the city's roads. So much so that the number of accidents during these rainy periods increases fourfold. Spectacular flooding, speeding, cell phone use, driving under the influence. In the space of just a few years, Los Angeles County has become the area with the highest number of road fatalities in the entire state of California. But other places, far from the big conurbations, are also high-risk areas for motorists. The national parks. California has 8 of them, spread over 26,000 kilometers and more than 13 million hectares of forest, equivalent to a third of its total area. These park areas can be transformed into gigantic infernos.
Oh, man, look at all this fire. Yeah, we picked the right day to take the 2, man. Oh my God, no, we did not. Holy shit. Look at all this, look at right next to us. You feel the heat? Holy shit.
Extreme drought, rampant urbanization, and dense vegetation make this state one of the most flammable in the country. Wildfires feature regularly on TV news and on the front pages of the international press. The state's firestorms are among the most devastating in the country. The 2021 Dixie Fire in Northern California claimed 86 lives and ravaged more than 400,000 hectares. The fires create a disaster scenario on the roads, with closed carriageways, interminable traffic jams, and panicking motorists trapped by the flames trying to escape the blaze by whatever means they can.
Go back, go back, go back. Turn around, turn around.
As was the case one day in July 2015, on Interstate 15 between Los Angeles and Las Vegas, when a terrible fire began to spread alongside the busy freeway. Carried by winds, the glowing embers crossed the road, encircling over 100 motorists. Trapped in their lane, drivers forced to abandon their vehicles in an attempt to save their lives. After a struggle lasting several hours, the fire was finally brought under control, leaving behind some 20 burnout vehicles. Luckily, there were no fatalities on the freeway, but other fires have had terrible consequences. In November 2018, California was facing the biggest wildfire in its history. From Malibu in the south right up to Butte County in the north of the state, fires were raging, destroying everything in their path.
Heavenly Father, please help us. Please help us to be safe. I'm thankful for Jeremy and his willingness to be brave.
One place in particular, the town of Paradise, found itself at the mercy of the flames. Its 27,000 inhabitants were forced to flee by car, but the only road still open became a veritable death trap, plunging drivers into a hellish inferno. Some opted to abandon their vehicles and flee on foot. Others chose to remain in their cars, a decision with tragic consequences. That day, the blaze known as Campfire claimed the lives of 7 motorists. Still today, California and its roads continue to be affected by terrifying wildfires, a phenomenon that is unfortunately set to intensify in the coming years with global warming.
Get the fuck out of my face!
I'm just gonna keep standing here until you get away.
Fucking punk.
Get your license. Oh, no license plate on the front, huh?
But wildfires are not the only scourge blazing through California's roads. Another phenomenon is becoming increasingly prevalent across the state: driver-on-driver violence. Drivers are often quick to leap out of their vehicles in the middle of the street to settle a score after tangling with another motorist. Others lose their cool completely and decide to intimidate any road user they deem guilty of a driving error. Insults, fights, acts of vandalism. This is the growing phenomenon known as road rage.
For some reason, when people get into their cars, we have this weird curtain of anonymity that comes across us. And so it's easier for people to react in inappropriate ways, which is honking their horn, yelling at somebody, showing them the middle finger. Doing things like that, which are inappropriate ways to respond to somebody who unsafely makes a lane change into you or cuts you off or whatever the case may be. There's a tendency of people to lash out.
Put down your f***ing phone, you're in your car.
In these images, the motorcyclist equipped with an onboard camera can be heard telling a driver not to use his phone at the wheel. The remark incenses the driver, who decides to take revenge, and he doesn't hold back. His extremely dangerous reaction is followed by a hit and run. Criminologist Greg Woods has been studying the resurgence of this phenomenon on the roads.
The California Highway Patrol will report that the #1 cause of automobile accidents is aggressive driving. It is the aggressive driving that arguably causes individuals to feel as if they are disrespected, cut off, then becoming the victims of road rage or the perpetrators of road rage.
Fatigue and irritation caused by heavy traffic lead to unpredictable reactions from some motorists. Tanya Shard, a lawyer and expert in firearms regulation, has studied this kind of behavior.
And I also think you're dealing with a time where people are very stressed out. They were suffering from depression. I think there were a lot of financial issues. I think a lot of the things that happened in the last 3 years in the United States has created a lot of stress for people. And unfortunately, I think sometimes you're seeing escalations of road rage, again, where someone maybe used to just honk or slam their hands on their wheel, but unfortunately, they now have a firearm and they're reaching for that firearm and shooting people.
All you guys, go grab some pussy, right?
A perceived slight might very well be answered in California, well, not with a middle finger or the shaking of a fist, but with bullets, with a firearm.
In California, 1 in 4 people owns a gun. The firearms business generated nearly $5.2 billion in 2022, with over 31 million guns sold in the state. This American tradition has disastrous consequences on the roads, where not everyone respects the law requiring guns and vehicles to be kept under lock and key.
And the more firearms we have nationally, it's logical to conclude why it is that we are experiencing such an increased rate of shootings, firearm causing injury on the road.
In all, more than 400 road shootings a year, more than one a day, are recorded in the state. And in 2022, almost half of them were recorded in the northern part of the state, in the San Francisco Bay Area. 2 roads in particular are affected by these tragic events: Interstate 80 and Interstate 580, which run through the city of Oakland.
When we're on the road and my mom wants to honk at somebody or feels aggressively towards another driver, I actually say, Mom, don't do anything. You never know, someone could shoot you. The communities that are neighboring these freeways where we're seeing these types of shootings are communities that are disproportionately impacted by gun violence. It may have to do with the geography of the Bay Area versus the geography of a Los Angeles. The Bay Area is probably packed a little bit tighter. If there's an escalation of a conflict, rather than the streets of their community, they get on the freeway.
These episodes often result in terrible tragedies, as innocent drivers and passengers get caught in the crossfire of the growing number of shootings. Like this young couple, whose journey on the freeway turned into a nightmare.
Are you okay?
As these images show,
They just shot through our fucking window. Are you okay?
I'm fine. Yeah, I don't feel anything.
All right, we need to call.
a stray bullet penetrates the passenger compartment. They both escape unharmed, but not everyone is so lucky. The authorities, meanwhile, are looking for ways to put an end to these innocent deaths.
There are a number of technological advancements that are currently being relied upon by local government. Specifically, we have the shot spotter technology, where we use satellite technology and other surveillance recording devices to identify the locations of the shooting. And if we can then conclude that a particular area has historically been riddled with bullets at a particular time, then we might be able to increase the presence of law enforcement in those particular areas through what is called predictive policing.
Despite the emergence of these new technologies, the problem of shootings in the San Francisco Bay Area is far from resolved. Every year, nearly 3,000 people are killed by firearms in California. After the highways of San Francisco Bay, we return to the south part of the state, to a mountain road where the scenery is in stark contrast to that of the city of Angels, the Angelus Crest Highway. It links the town of La Cañada Flint Ridge, north of Los Angeles, to Wrightwood in San Bernardino County. This 106-kilometer-long road, perched at an altitude of 2,000 meters, winds its way through the San Gabriel Mountains and Angeles National Forest.
Angelus Crest is very close in proximity to, let's say, from downtown Los Angeles, to give everyone a perspective, maybe a 30-minute to 1-hour drive. It has special places where cars can park and just enjoy the view, maybe grab a snack, eat something. You'll see a lot of the stars. It's amazing.
But beyond its breathtaking scenery, Angelus Crest is a well-known thorn in the flesh of motorists. The route has become one of the most dangerous roads in the whole of California. Here, the layout and weather conditions making driving extremely difficult. Often plagued by snowstorms.
Holy cow!
It is also affected by massive flooding and terrible landslides.
Especially during the winter time, snow and ice comes into play. The police and law enforcement will mandate that people have chains on their wheels to go up and down. Otherwise, they don't let you. At times there's heavy fog, so from me to you, you can't even, see that distance, so it becomes very dangerous. It's very common that very serious accidents, injuries, and even death will happen on the Angelus Crest roadway for multiple reasons. The turny roadway and the most of it being one lane. If you crash and fly off, you're hundreds of feet that you're gonna fall, and it's plunging to your death.
This road is a particularly challenging one for Californians, who are generally accustomed to driving along major highways and long straights. The conditions here are alien to motorists unaccustomed to this type of road.
they'll speed and try to do things that they really shouldn't, not knowing the roadways, because you'll come up on some very sharp turns, you know, and if you're doing even 25, 30 miles an hour, you're probably not coming out of that sharp turn, you know. You need to slow down and be in your 5, 10, maybe 15 miles an hour so you can complete those turns and not fly off.
The area below is littered with car wrecks. Tragic accidents regularly make the headlines, and more often than not are caused by reckless drivers willing to take any risk for a short-lived adrenaline rush.
Angelus Crest is known for people that love to go racing just because the challenging road it provides. And a lot of times what youngsters, teenagers will love to do, they'll just really speed and think they're amazing racers.
Young thrill seekers willing to do anything to push their vehicles to the limit. Illegal motorcycle races, gangs of youths, all exhibit the kind of dangerous behavior that can lead to terrible tragedies. Like the time a motorist with a dash cam had the scare of his life. Traveling at high speed, well above the speed limit, the driver suddenly loses control of his vehicle. The man escaped with only minor injuries, a miracle for this driver. But not everyone is so lucky. In 5 years, there have been over 1,800 accidents on the Angelus Crest, 33 of them fatal. The latest phenomenon to make California's roads fraught with danger is the explosion of hit-and-run accidents.
If you're involved in a crash and you flee without giving the person that, that's a hit and run. Hit and runs occur on a daily basis, all the time. And they occur in parking lots, they occur on roadways, they occur in private driveways, they occur everywhere.
These hit and runs can follow unobtrusive fender benders or much more serious accidents,
Hit that guy.
where those responsible fail to assist the people they have put in danger.
I got it all on my dash camera if you need it.
A big part of it is because someone causes an accident and an injury, so they panic, they get scared, and they run, they take off.
California has become the #1 hit-and-run state in the USA.
Oh my gosh.
And nowhere is the situation worse than in Los Angeles, where almost 1 in 2 accidents results in a hit-and-run. In all, more than 19,000 people are left to die on the side of the road every year. That's 52 people a day, more than 2 every single hour across the state of California. The phenomenon has increased by 90% in the last 10 years and makes the headlines every day.
Anytime you're involved in a collision and you cause the crash, you're going to be responsible financially. So if I strike a car in a parking lot or on a roadway and I'm worried about having to pay for that, or I don't have insurance, that person may flee thinking if they can get away from it, they won't have to pay.
Insurance is expensive in Los Angeles, and the reason for it is because of high traffic and high volume of car accidents, which creates liability for the insurance carriers, because the more people on the road, the more collisions that are happening, that means the premiums go up.
And perhaps you're worried about your driving record. If you get in trouble for a crash and you get a ticket, that ticket goes on your driving record that they put what's known as a point on there. Once you get 4 points, your driver's license can be suspended. If your license gets suspended and you are insured, your insurance company will drop you. That's another financial reason or financial incentive for somebody to flee because they don't want to have to pay for that.
A significant proportion of hit and runs involve drivers who don't have a license. In a state where the car is king, Californians have no choice but to use vehicles to get around, even if it means breaking the law.
2 out of 5 hit-and-run accidents in Los Angeles are caused by unlicensed drivers, according to the statistics from the CHP.
They're afraid what happens if they stay, they may end up getting arrested for driving without a license or for driving on a suspended license. And driving on a suspended license can, at times, based on the circumstances, result in having to serve jail time.
These drivers include illegal foreign nationals. For fear of being arrested or sent back to their country of origin, in the event of an accident, many opt to flee the scene before emergency services or the police arrive. In an attempt to limit the number of hit and runs, the state of California introduced new legalization called the AB 60 law, a reform that gives immigrants access to driver's license. Since its adoption in 2016, more than 1 million of them have been issued, resulting in a 10% drop in hit and runs across the state. A revolution of sorts, but one that doesn't solve all the problems.
You're going to jail.
Go ahead. You know what?
Hit and run, DUI. You're going to jail.
I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. Go ahead.
You already left. You already left the scene.
I'm right here, asshole.
We're seeing, a significant amount of hit and runs that are as a result of people who are driving under the influence of alcohol, or they have drugs in their system. We're also seeing, or have seen, a significant increase in the impairment as a result of abuse of prescription drugs.
Holy shit!
You already left. Hey, get out of your car.
Shit.
Bro, she's about to try and get out of here, dude. Hey.
Hit and runs regularly make the headlines in California. In an attempt to solve some of these cases and track down the fugitives as quickly as possible, the city of Los Angeles has set up an alert system offering a reward to anyone able to provide information on the identity of fugitives. $1,000 for a hit and run causing damage to property. $25,000 for information on a hit and run resulting in serious injury. And $50,000 for information on the identity of a hit and run driver causing death. Despite this appeal for witnesses, only 8% of hit and run cases end up being solved. A paltry total set against the number of cases reported each year in the state. Overcrowded roads, car chases, road rage, recklessness, some of the most dangerous fires in the USA. California faces a huge challenge in its attempts to reduce the number of deaths on its roads. All the more so as by 2050, its population is projected to hit 60 million compared with just 40 million today, bringing a corresponding increase in traffic. Only time will tell whether California will succeed in reducing the number of accidents on its roads, fraught with danger.